They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them. Or will we? In the past 3 generations, we may have forgotten the patriotism of the men and women who fought at war. It is crucial that we remind ourselves of these people. From prestigious New Zealand soldiers such as Charles Upham, Cyril Bassett, and Willie Apiata, to the thousands of ordinary men and women who shaped the world we live in today. It seems the men and women who wish to forget war will never be able to, while the rest of us continue our day-to-day lives failing to commemorate these heroes. Lest we forget. For if we do not learn the lessons of the past, we will be forced to repeat them. As a teenager of the 21st century, I have heard of Charles Upham, Cyril Bassett, and Willie Apiata. But what do these names mean to me? They were simply men who fought at war. However, to those who knew them, these men were true heroes. As time passes, it seems we forget to commemorate these figures. How many of today's heroes, such as Dan Carter or Russell Crowe, can say they put their own life in jeopardy to fight for their country, to stand up for their rights and those of their descendants? All 3 of these men and many others did just that. Charles Upham, Cyril Bassett, and Willie Apiata were all awarded Victoria Crosses for their courage, loyalty, and leadership during the wars they fought in. No World Cup or no Grammy Award will ever compare to the prestigious Victoria Crosses awarded to these men. Charles Upham became one of 3 men in history to receive not 1 but 2 Victoria Crosses. He, being a typical New Zealander, did not expect any recognition, nor did he wish to be in the limelight. In fact, he could only accept his first Victoria Cross by seeing it as an acknowledgement of the bravery of his unit, rather than recognition of his own personal courage. Bassett and Apiata were also awarded Victoria Crosses during World War I and post-World War II. Both men showed huge courage under heavy fire. Cyril Bassett became the only New Zealander to receive a Victoria Cross at Gallipoli when he succeeded in relaying a telephone line from its old position to the new one on Chinook Bear, while Apiata carried an injured mate for 70 metres uphill under heavy fire. He too downplayed this achievement by saying, and I quote, "I just did what I was trained to do. It's what mates do for each other." Charles Upham, Cyril Bassett, Willie Apiata, and countless others, all such noble men. Alas, to many of my generation, these are merely names. We must be reminded of these men and the many other men and women who fought at war, lest we forget. Furthermore, we cannot forget to acknowledge the ordinary men and women who went to war. Take a moment to imagine a cenotaph, extensive lists of names. To many of us, these are just names. consider that every name was a face. Every face, a regular New Zealander who had a family, friends, a life outside of war. These people may not have received Victoria Crosses. Does that mean we should forget them? People did not go to war to become famous. Many thought it to be a necessary duty. But these young men and women stepped up and fought for a future they would never see. So when you visualise that cenotaph, take a moment to commemorate the people engraved in the monument, lest we forget. In contrast to recent generations, it seems the men and women who wish to forget war will never be able to. Those lucky enough to survive were often left physically and emotionally injured. Whether people wanted to go to war or not, they did. Bonds were formed and broken. However, war never really ended for the survivors. As Wilfred Owen stated in his poem, The Century, I try not to remember these things now, lest we forget, as those soldiers never will. So how can we be reminded of these heroes? Simply by attending Anzac Day services, wearing a poppy, or remembering those closer to us in our own private thoughts. It doesn't take a lot to honour a New Zealander who fought at war. But if we do not remember our history, it will repeat itself, and we will be forced to learn the lessons of the past firsthand. They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them.